Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about rotation. So, so that far eye, really problematic. But before I do that, I want to discuss our community challenge. So the community challenge is very important. You guys need, if you want to join it, you have to go to the Reddit community and then read through it. I want to show you really quickly. I don't know where these accents are coming from. Don't ask me. I don't know. I want to show you really quickly what my patrons have done because I gave them the same assignment. Beneath the Great Stone Window. Beautiful. They had a little bit more of a different assignment. They had a bit more liberty to change some stuff. So this snake is not part of a painting. But technically what it is that it's a snake emerging from a painting. It is slowly turning into a real volume-filled shape. And there's a character in this abandoned library / greenhouse that is has just confronted the snake or has just met the snake. And some of the stuff I saw, I mean, all of them are beautiful. They're just phenomenal. They did get critiqued, of course, but I think I can find ones no, I don't think I have them here. But yes, we have been venturing into book covers lately, so it's a little bit more in detail than what you guys are seeing here. I'm not sure if I can show the others, but they did an amazing job. I'm gonna just risk it and just show some of the other ones. Okay, so I'm very proud of their work. So for those who want to join and do these, it looks great on your portfolio to have book cover design. I hope that I can find the corrections to show you guys another stream because I know that my students did complete their corrections. Yes, so this one was corrected. So this was the one that you guys saw just now. It was a face looking at the picture, and there were not many leaves, so that it didn't really feel like a greenhouse or overgrowth. But it's just the silhouette, the way they responded to their critique, the character, the beautiful silhouette that they have. It's just such a unique character design. The hair, it's just a phenomenal correction. And then here also, this was also, they added a blurred foreground foliage, which looks fucking amazing. I'm not so sure about this little border here. You really don't need it. But I think they did wonderful too. I love that little curl and the scales catching the light. You guys did amazing. So I can't wait to see what the community can do as well. You guys, your rules are a little bit more rigid. You have to follow this exact text. Thank you to all those who commented. You guys are so sweet. Giving me what I need to boost my ego a little bit. I really needed it, I'm telling you. But thank you so much to those who have already read through it and who have already started to join. If you are enjoying this challenge and you want to support this community and give back, you want to keep this community going strong, you can join us on Patreon. So Patreon, there's different tiers. You don't have to, you're not expected to join or do homework or join in a crazy Discord or anything like that. Not that the Discord for the apprentices is high intensity. It's actually a really relaxed environment. You get assignments. The due dates, though, they are set in place. I am very flexible with people's schedules. I try not to stress out my apprentices too much with due dates. I know that everyone's working around their jobs and their lives and their children and their own personal art hobbies and projects that they want to do, other classes they're taking online. So my apprenticeship is actually a very relaxed environment against popular belief. Of course, you get a lot of educational material in exchange, a private Discord, critiques for your work, assignments, as you just saw. But you don't have to join as an apprentice. You have options in between that, and of course, you just have as a watcher. It's $1 watcher. The price will never change, and if you guys want to join as $1, and if everybody in the community joined as $1, I really would never need to worry about YouTube or agencies or anything like that interfering with my content or shifting my content or expecting me to post shorter videos or videos of less content or policing the content I cover. In my videos, I can say, please go vote in November, vote Biden, vote against Trump. Any vote against Trump is a good vote. This stuff I can say in my videos because I am not being held by any particular group or anything. I can speak my mind. I can talk about anything I want to talk about. So if you guys want to keep the community this free and open, feel free to support me on Patreon as $1 as a watcher. And there's a reason why I call the $1 supporters as watchers. You guys do watch over the community very, very closely. And that's it for assignments. For announcements. Portrait Studio is no longer on sale, unfortunately. It went up, not to original price, of course, but it did go back up to a medium sale price, as I promised. Thank you to everyone who took advantage of the sale these past 7 months. I promise it will go back to even lower amount come the Cyber Monday, all of that stuff. Towards the holidays, it will go back to even more affordable than it is right now. But I just had to put it at a reasonable price for me and my team, as well as you guys, and the financial restrictions of today's economy. I don't expect people to pay $100 for a software right now. So let's get started. This piece of work here is really, really ambitious, and pretty ambitious for someone who doesn't, really is not paying attention to a lot of the 3/4 view rotation rules. You've dressed up a 3/4 view study that should have been day 1, 14-day challenge. 3/4 view, you've given it props and accessories. All right, this is what I mean when I say stop with the masterpieces, because you guys are trying to turn, and I'm not saying you're not allowed to be creative or create characters, but I really have no idea what the hell you're doing. You've got the sad girl with sad eyes, who's looking a little bit like a boy, but it's looking innocent and cute from a distance, but like the only thing saving it is the distance read. That's not a good thing. You've destroyed your contrast by bringing in a luminescent white. You have no apparent light source direction. The rotation is all wrong, just as that. Your colors and your color choice, you've got reds from different parts of the universe with different exposure levels, and you're kind of just putting things together in the hopes that they look good. Right? And that's the honest truth. And I get that. I get that that's sometimes what you got to do to be creative, and it's okay. And though I might over here ripping up your work to pieces, it's not destructive, it's constructive demolition. So we're breaking up the pieces, showing you how you could have done it better, and then we're moving on from there. So let me make sure that my mic is actually working right now. I'm not talking to myself. Okay, good. Because it's a masterpiece, I have to address the rules therein and then adjust it for the masterpiece. I can't just grayscale this, make it bold and work on the rotation. I'm going to try to make everything work together. I used to do that. I used to just turn it into a 14-day challenge, day 1, and force the student to do one. Let me talk about the 14-day challenge for a second. If you're not getting critiques on the 14-day challenge, then you are not really doing the 14-day challenge. The secret to the 14-day challenge is learning, 1, how to get critique and take critique, and how to give it. So if you're not getting any critique, it's because you're not talking to anybody on the community. How do you expect anybody to talk to you if you're just sitting there silently? It's online, so no one's gonna ever find you if you're not active and loud. So make sure you're commenting on other people's 14-day challenges. And you don't know what to fix if someone's not telling you what the problem is. And you always need someone to tell you. You always need an extra set of eyes, 5 extra people to come and tell you where you went wrong and what you did wrong. All right, you can do a 14-day challenge for front view, side view, 3/4 view. Front view obviously is recommended first before 3/4 view. 3/4 view is one of the hardest ones. It'll feel like you'd learned everything that you think you know, just, went out the window, because it's just impossible to be able to, turn a front view into a 3/4 view and rotate a 2-dimensional object that you approached as a flat 2-dimensional geography, just as a map from bird's eye view. Suddenly that map turned into a 3-dimensional map, and now the nose sticks out. Now the eye hides behind the nose, and now the mouth has a cylindrical volume visible from the side, a voluminous imprint, a cylindrical imprint. So this is the kind of stuff I'll be covering today. I will not be doing a how to draw an eye in 3/4 view class. That's not what today is. Today is me applying the 3/4 view laws on this quote-unquote masterpiece attempt, and you learn out of that. If you are looking for how to draw an eye, nose, mouth in 3/4 view, I have videos on my channel that cover that. I might do refreshed new videos with those specific lessons because I benefit from them as well. I'm just recapping on my current knowledge and showing people what I've learned over the years. But this is not a how-to specific features in three-quarter view. This is applying them generally in general strokes on this painting. I'm not going to be able to explain every choice I make. All right. So what do I do? What do I do? Do I fix the lighting first? Do I fix the rotation? I'm going to fix the rotation first, even though the light is just blinding. I'm going to just take care of that though. That's just too much, and the image is massive. I think that'll do for my brush. Oh, that's okay. All right, so. Oof. All right. So one thing about drawing a girl in three-quarter view is that we have specific rules for what makes a girl read like a girl. So we try not to do these really droopy eyes. Though they do look cute, they actually are kind of unrealistically droopy. And then if the eyes do droop like that when you're a kid, they only droop so little. Kids tend to look really similar to each other. You know, if you're talking about like the same age, gender, ethnicity, kids in that same age, gender, ethnicity tend to look really similar. So you don't have a lot of variations. As soon as you hit puberty, as soon as you get older, as soon as your face bone structure starts to develop, you do start to look a little bit, you know, more unique, more distinguished. But until then, you have pretty general features that that make a child look like a child. Now, if you did not intend for this to be a child, that's a whole other class. And that's not something I can cover today. So the changes I just made, I'm making the nose look like it sticks out a little bit more. Your nose is a little bit flat. And we're going to talk about why this eye is not in three-quarter view. This is not a three-quarter view eye. You do some things right, which is great. But there's other stuff that you're just doing all wrong, and it's throwing off your rotation. So I'm showing more of the open nostril on this side because that's the side that we see. And I'm pushing more this way, showing less of that far nostril. That's the side we don't see. Common sense. What we don't see, we don't draw. Write that back to me. Write that back to me passionately. All right? I want emojis. I want caps. I want... In three-quarter view, what we don't see, we don't draw. Too often do I see students trying to draw what they cannot see because they're so used to front view. They feel like they're just not, you know, they're not drawing. They feel like, hey, you know, I'm used to drawing the other nostril, so listen, three-quarter view. I don't care what you say. I don't care about the laws of physics, rotation, and you know, just general space-time continuum. I'm just going to draw the other side, even if it's three-quarter view. And no, that's not professional. That doesn't look good. It doesn't look realistic, and it's not, you know, your characters are not believable. What we don't see, we don't draw. Excellent, Lighthouse. It's good to see you, Lighthouse. How are you? Yes. The variation in the caps. I love that. Rotation is hard, yeah, because there's that. What you don't see, you don't draw. You usually try to draw what you don't see, and that's what messes it up. And then there's geometry. Oh, geometry. It's the student's best friend, but alas, it's linked to math, so the student hates it. But geometry is what makes three-quarter view easy. Meaning, if we remember that the geometric origin shape or the geometric anatomy of a mouth, the anatomical equivalent in geometry of a mouth is a cylinder. And if we rotate a cylinder, we can show that, boop, oh, look, a three-dimensional mouth. Did you guys see that change or what? That's magic. That's all you got to do. But again, students go and draw the front view lip and just compress it slightly and think they're going to get a three-quarter view lip. No, you just have to show the cylinder. You have to show the little belly of the cylinder sticking out. All right. So I'm exaggerating it a little bit just because so I'm not trying to make her mouth look like it's puckering, but I'm trying to exaggerate it just a little bit. Then you've got these little cartoon tails on either side of the corner of the mouth. Not good. That makes the mouth look like it's a cartoon. And if you're trying to draw realistically, why are you using cartoon rules? All right. You're making all kinds of mistakes. This student needs to be put through you know how like sometimes you can make a lineup and everyone has a stick and the student gets beaten down the line. So everyone in this stream needs to be holding a little ruler or something, and it's so mean. But look at all the rules they broke. Shadow on either side of the nose, bad. Okay, excessive lash representation in the detail, bad. No rotation at all, bad. Trying to show too much of what we can't see. You're breaking all the rules, maybe because you don't know them. How do I know them, Mr. Bragg? Okay, stop beating me. How do I know what these rules are? How do I go out and find them and learn them so I don't make these mistakes? 14-day challenge. Draw something repetitively long enough. You will be perfect at representing that. You will perfect your ability to draw that thing. It is a very sound theory, and we have used it across millennia. We use it when we work out. We use it, to practice really doing anything, any craft. Repeat it. The brain will find a faster and better and more efficient way of doing it each time. That's it. So just minor rotation rules applied to the face, and we'll see just what a little bit of Liquify can do. All right, so image size before, after. So just look at the mouth. Look at the nose. We've pushed the nose out, hidden less of the other side. Look at the Cupid's bow, balancing the corners, and we're not even done yet. We haven't even scratched the surface. Then there's the eyebrows. There is such thing as 3/4 view eyebrows and front view eyebrows. The eyebrow bone is what the eyebrow sits on. Okay, so if we get rid of the eyebrow here, I saved it in another layer. All right. So if you guys are asking me questions, I can't see them just yet. So make sure you guys are asking me at the end of class if I remember to take questions. You never know, it's a gamble. It's a gamble whether or not I stay for questions. You never know. Which is why you guys should be commenting on the videos. Someone will always answer, or I will answer myself. So if you're having trouble with eyebrow bone in 3/4 view, get rid of the eyebrow, or even eyebrow in 3/4 view, get rid of the eyebrow, and just focus on the structure of the head. So we've got a little bump here. So technically, the eyebrow sits on the eyebrow bone. So this eyebrow here, let's work on this one. I don't know why she looks so worried, but you're trying to throw in a story, and that's cool, and that's good. The eyebrow bone is two parts. The part that looks up at is in the front part of the head. So the head is a cube, and then parts of the head go on the sides, right? The rest of the eyebrow, the tail of the eyebrow, is on the temple. What pisses me off is when you guys show the whole eyebrow just on the front side of the face, meaning that from front view you have eyes, and then you have eyebrows. You don't have eyebrows that extend out. No, you guys draw eyebrows like this so that they stay inside the front. So from 3/4 view, you actually don't have eyebrows. The tail of the eyebrow doesn't touch your temple. Everybody touch your face. It's Corona time though, so make sure your hands are clean. If your hands have not been washed, please don't fucking touch your face. Okay, your eyebrows, the rest of them after your arc, hey, it's on the side of your head. It's on the temple, the thing you massage when you get a migraine after playing a league match, right? So when we are applying this value here, not only do we have to texturize it a little bit, because it's not good to have a Sharpie eyebrow, but we have to make sure we're representing that it dips into the temple. So we bring in the other eyebrow, and we see that you've shown too much. the tail would not be visible. The tail is what I call the part of the eyebrow that looks away or moves away from the eye. The tail is the far end of the eyebrow. The tail is the, because I'm saying it so many different versions because everyone has different eyebrows. The tail is the least bushy part of the eyebrow. The tail is the furthest away from the, that's why I'm saying furthest away, because it casts shadows to help the eye deal with the sun. That's technically what eyebrows do. All right. So, eyebrow triggered. So when we're talking about eyebrows that you guys draw in your 3/4 view, and everyone's like, oh, rotation's so hard. Well, if the rotation is hard, then that means your front view is not, you haven't completed your front view studies yet. So the person who said rotation is too hard, number one, I don't believe you. I feel like you know more than you think you do. Because if you can draw a front view face, you already know what the limits are. All you got to do is start measuring. So if you know that the eyebrow arc coincides with the eyebrow bone, and half the eyebrow bone is gone, because 1/4 of the face is gone. That's why we only see 3 out of 4 quarters of the face. The other ear, do we see it? No. That's called, do we see the other temple? No. Do we see the other jaw? No. Or the other jaw joint? That's because that far side is gone. So anything that is attached to this side of the face in this rotation is also gone. Okay? So we have to just, if we can draw a front view face, we should typically know what is and what is not visible in that 3/4 view. All right, is everybody with me? Does anybody have any questions so far? I'll try to look and answer any. Iron Man helmet. What do you mean? Yes, the little tail is over there. Tail wraps front faces. Exactly. Okay, so then we have eyebrow bone that catches a little bit of light. Today I can't talk about light because your light is so messed up that it's hard for me to focus on that and all the rotation. The lights you're doing are from every which way, every direction. I mean, that in itself is a critique. You should be having one direction for the light. And then eyebrows themselves, the ones that you're drawing, don't seem to have a growth pattern on them. They do grow down, so you did do good, but they grow down at an angle. And then she is also a child, so she really shouldn't have overdrawn eyebrows. Children tend to have a non-pubescent eyebrow, I call it, which is an eyebrow without an arc to it, or too much bushiness. We kind of get all our hair after, as you know. And we get all of the cheekbones and all of the stuff that defines the female face just later on. Okay, so I'm making them a little bit thinner. So she still has that surprised, curious face, but definitely not despair. I would say where we were before was despair. I haven't even started on the pupils and the iris, so don't say, hey, those look wrong, because I know. And then we have the eyebrow crease, which is different in 3/4 view as well. So we have, and by the way, the eye closest to us is not a front view eye either. All right, we see more of the other side of the eye than we do. We see more of this side of the eye than we see the inner corner in both eyes. All right, so write that back. Both eyes in 3/4 view are 3/4 view eyes. I know that seems so common sense, but to a lot of students, it is not. Both eyes are 3/4 view eyes. Write that back to me. Oh. Oh, I didn't do a new layer. I'll just do a new layer. All right, that means that we are seeing more of one side than the other, and I'll show you in a second. Let's get my shit together. That means that we are seeing more this side, right? And less of that side. Hey, we're gonna do the other side as well. More of this side, less of that side. both eyes in 3/4 view are 3/4 view eyes, meaning that they are rotated. And if you don't know what to do between eyelid and eyebrow, just do that. That's typically what really happens. We're just blocking in the fact that the eyebrow bone changes and the temple takes over and slowly becomes the cheekbone, but she's a child, so she shouldn't have any cheekbones. Okay, let's move on. The placement, so this is just a general motion that I did with the cylinders, but let's talk about the lash line before I move into the mouth. So the lash line, I recommend 2 things in replacement of the lash line. Get rid of the line, first of all, you line addicts, right? Right, so what we're doing here is we're showing the spherical ball of that far eye. So this is more 3/4 view than this. This is less 3/4 view. Yeah, okay. I don't blame you for your confusion thinking this is a front view eye. It's not, but this is more than. This is more rotated. So we just need to show that circular shape. So we're just cutting off. We're just straight up, just like the nose. We're just cutting off with an edge the far corner. And so we have to think about what we're doing with the lower eyelid. So I would rather a lash line missing than having a line moving around the eyes, because a lash line missing, yeah, it's just up for grabs really what happens with lashes when it comes to children. Like maybe they don't have a lot, maybe they're sparse, maybe they're blonde. She is white haired. I mean, why would you opt in for a destructive line for the lower lashes that flattens the eye than a water line that makes a lot of sense because it's part of the anatomy of the eye? And why would you opt in for one line for the lashes that flattens the eye instead of a full voluminous brushstroke to represent the full surface area for this large-eyed child for the lower eyelid? Right? The lower eyelid also needs to wrap around the eyeball, and it just ends right at the corner. You guys always awkwardly end your lashes by connecting the 2 lash lines together. When the last time you looked at the mirror, if it wasn't because your eyes were gunky in the morning, your lashes upper and lower don't stick together, and they shouldn't be sticking together, okay? They don't touch, all right? Because then your eyes don't open. All right, so make sure that you are not representing the lashes as an actual texture, as a, you know, every single individual brushstroke represents a hair lash. It's horrible. That's the best way to kill your and flatten your work, because you're throwing off your focal point and then you're just drawing a bunch of distracting lines that don't really focus on the rotation of the eye, because they're just like chalk sketch, right? So if you really want to represent a 3/4 view eye lash, it would be just in first of all this kind of motion, and second, I don't even recommend it at all, just a haze with a soft brush to show where that lower lash line is, upper lash line is. And then we have the inner corners that always seem to be illuminated, and then we have that fleshy component of the inner corners. All right, I'm just blocking and zooming right back out. Any questions? The pupils look a bit crossed. I have trouble with that sometimes. Can you explain pupil position in 3/4 view? Sure. It's really there's really no rule to it as long as it looks like the character is looking in the direction. Sometimes people are spaced out, but she does look curious, so she is looking in a specific direction. But let me just cover the lower eyelids first. So sometimes the fat of the lower eyelid space gets in the way of the further 3/4 view eye, so we cut it off like that. You see how this one is more of a C shape, and if we were to do the C shape on this, we flatten it. That looks wrong. So what we do is we just show how the padding gets in the way. Same thing here, which is why sometimes the space is closed. Okay. So she doesn't really look too cross, just they're different sizes, which is a problem. Before I get to that, I'm going to just start smoothing out the face. And you've got this this outline, this like rim light going everywhere that you thought would really like save the painting. It did not. And then of course, last but not least in the blocking is the sides of the nose. Terrible. Terrible problem. Value sharing is a sad, sad thing. All right, we're going to get rid of that excessive white use on the nose. Strengthen the lower nose shadow. And strengthen the bridge. Again, she's a child, so you wouldn't really need too strong a bridge. And that's all the blocking that we need for now. The skin tone's also way too yellow. That's another, you're making mistakes in every single department, which is a big sign to stop, drop, and do some form studies. So I'm choosing a very mild mid-tone here. Okay, and then we've got the dark spots for the mouth. And I'm still very, very iffy on the fact that the eyes are droopy, but I'm trying to stay true to your character's design. And then of course is the pupils. So, irises, I mean. So the iris in the 3/4 view is elongated because it's dished in. It's hollow. So you first of all need to make sure that the 3/4 view, 3/4 view eye, the most 3/4 view of the 3/4 view eyes, the furthest eye, has a longer shape. So place them wherever they need to be for now and then cross them later as you work. All right. And then this one, though it is not a perfect sphere, I mean, if it's moved over here, it will lengthen. Like if it's moved on this side, it will become a longer version. All right. But because it's not really shifted away from the center of the eyeball, you can make it longer, just, you know, not a perfect sphere. But not too long either, because you're still referencing it against this. And so I'm just trying to make sure I'm not damaging the eye nearby. And it's Liquify. Liquify will do that. This here needs to go reach the lash line. I'm not sure why there's a space there. And then we're going to flip the canvas, filter, Liquify, and continue onward. Sorry if you guys hear some construction in the background. That's people working in my kitchen. All right. So now that we flipped the canvas, you can see how we're seeing too much of the far side. I do have to enlarge. Just let me fix that little gap first. One really, really awesome trick to 3/4 view, which I already talked about, don't draw what you can't see, happens on the farthest sliver cross section of the eye, of the head, sorry. And that is grabbing all of this. Obviously I did it wrong, because if she is an older, younger character, she won't have cheekbones, so be careful not to give her cheekbones, or else she'll look like she's, you know, going through puberty or after. But sometimes all you gotta do is just delete. So I'm just going to show you really quickly what I mean by that. Sometimes hiding and deleting that farthest part, obviously the eyeball has to have its own bit and then the lash comes out, is the best thing you can do for completing a 3/4 view rotation. So let me complete the eye. And then the lashes stick out further than the eye. Okay, that's the thing that makes 3/4 view work, is showing less. But that's not the extremity of our 3/4 view. I would say a fraction of it needs to be moved out. So sometimes I do this and I shift it in, and that is more than enough to show the rotation without damaging the anatomy. You see we're seeing less of the eye, less of the eyebrow, and then flip. If her face is really round at that point, then yeah, maybe you can keep it round, but it's not that baby a face. Sometimes also, depending on your reference, which you should always use, a baby face does not have too much of an eyebrow crease. Or, I mean, yeah, like an eye crease. It has hooded eyes. And then the lashes exit the orbit of the face. They're outside of the edge of the face. Okay, and then now we're just smudging. And I over smudge eyebrow hairs for kids because they haven't plucked their eyebrows yet. You know, they haven't gone into the demonic world of makeup yet, so they're just beautiful and innocent and pure, and they don't know about Jeffree Star. So hopefully they live the rest of their lives without knowing who that is. Yeah, I'm just doing that over here. And then now I'm smudging away. Draws eyebrow harder. And then I'm smudging away at these little blocks here that I left behind. And she looks like a curious little shaman's daughter, priestess in training. And I will try to cover the skin a little bit as well. And here, this whole mess needs to be corrected. It's really just the eyeball is behind all of that. And then the lashes are in front. And then we do get lashes sticking out that way. All right, so then there's the expression, which is a little bit strong for you know, a curious face. She looks more shocked in one eye, curious in the other. So let's talk about that. I already talked about expression when it comes to the eyebrows. So you need a softer value for the upper eye. And then this lower eyelid itself, it just seems to be flopping along that original flat outline you did. So I'm just going to try to shape it around the volume of the eyeball. Meaning, I'm going to drag it out so that it sits along the eyebrow. See how over here you had the apex happen this way? This should happen that way, which is that crest, that outer arc. It arcs this way in a 3/4 view. And then there's just the whites of the eyes, which seem messy, and I'm going to redo the pink in the eye a little bit because I think it got painted over. You see how we don't even miss that lower eyelash? You can have it, but make sure you bring it in abstractly. You're not representing every little lash. And then we also need something that you guys forget a lot, the core shadow of the eyeball. You guys forget that a lot. And then I'm going to get my blocking brush and block in the upper part of the cylinder of the mouth, which is mandatory. And a little bit of chin, just a touch. Flip the canvas. Yeah, just a little bit off. Oops. Merge down, filter, liquify. So I'd like to take this moment to remind you guys to register to vote, please. The United States is in a really historically significant age. If you guys think that one day there will be a democratic option for those who are democratic by definition, and I think anyone who defines themselves as Republican or Democratic strictly is a very ignorant and uneducated person. We all have different values and we all have different ideas. And we are complicated human beings that are made up of different components in our personalities and effects. And though we may be liberal in one aspect, we're conservative in another. But if you're waiting for an option on the Democratic ballot that suits you and your personal view on what democratic looks like, we're never at the future, so therefore you will not vote, and then he has a higher chance of winning because you stayed silent and inactive. You will not find one if he wins again. If he wins again, the democratic world as you know it will no longer be a majority. If you want to keep it majority, please help us get this monster out of this office that is supposed to should have afforded him some level of maturity, but it did not. It only boosted and worked as a catalyst for the spiraling of his ego, and the just instead of draining the swamp, he saturated it with more corrupt people, and his entire team is now either behind bars. It was just a criminal enterprise. So I beg you, as your teacher, every minute I spend with who I am as a person, my back pain as I sit on this chair, my talking and just talking to myself to dry mouth, really, my passion while I teach you, just the dizziness after classes. This person who is here spending time teaching you guys how to make your little sketches better is begging you to vote. I beg you to vote. I beg you to register to vote. You just need an ID. Go to vote.gov and find your local state regulations for voting, and please vote. We need to change what is happening in the United States. And whoever I am, whatever I mean to you as your teacher, as your friend, I beg you to vote, and vote blue no matter who. Make the election too big to rig. And that is my little blurb on that. That's as much advertisement as happens here, other than the stupid ads that I run on my channel that have nothing to do with freaking whatever the hell that stupid ass game is. So let's get back to it. It's not a political show, but I do feel like I need to do my part, and the people whose voice my voice reaches, the people who follow me, I feel like you guys need to really understand the gravity of our situation right now and how horrible things can be. We all need to stay proactive. So I added a little bit of extra highlight around the nose bridge up into the forehead, and I'm going to bring my sponge tool, and put it on desaturate, and desaturate the living hell out of all this yellow. If she's pale, she will not have yellow on her skin. Skin reflects the nearby light the way any texture would, meaning it will reflect more of the white in the light than the yellow. You want to kill skin? Use yellow on the light, all right? And then we've got her jawline, which is just a touch too strong. I think her whole face itself, it just does not fit the head size. So I got rid of that strong jawline. And then finally, I'm just gonna select, before I do that, I'm just going to filter, liquify. And then make sure that that seam of her hair, that cut along her hairline right there, the parting, call it a seam, what the hell's wrong with me? We make sure that that's symmetrical also. All right, so she needs more. Babies are babies because they're just huge heads, right? They're the big, circular, cute heads. And so we need to show how the forehead is quite large on this character. And that's how you make it look cute, because that's the defining. Remember how a long time ago I said baby is cute, old man is boy, and old woman is old man? Do you guys remember that? How we switch, and there's like a gray area between which templates work on what. Baby faces can look like women faces, old ladies can look like young men, and old men look like old ladies. Do you guys remember that? So make sure that, you know, this circular head thing doesn't really go away for females as they get older. We stay with that globular head because that's just how men's testosterone or hormone buildup, or not build, what is it? Construction, I guess, is different from estrogen. Bone structure for men is more rigid, more strong, and is more geometric, more angular. And then I'm fixing her collar to make a little bit more sense. Just curving around. I have never, ever, ever said this, ever. I have never singled out any group from Critique Hour. I've never said, you know, you can't be my student if. But at this point in time, I really don't welcome any outspoken Trump supporters in my channel. I understand if you're a conservative, and I hope there's going to be an option on the conservative ballot that deserves your vote. But I really don't think this guy who ran around with porn stars and cheats people and lies is really what you'd call a conservative. I think they just used him. He used to be a Democrat. He's just a criminal, really, at the end of the day. But if you support him despite that, if for some reason you feel him as a representation of yourself, don't join my classes. You're not welcome here. I don't want you here. I don't want people who are racists to be here. I don't want sexists to be here. I'm a female teacher who is brown. I'm as anti-Trump as it gets. And I don't want you here. If you support him, if you represent him, if you believe in what he does, if you support white nationalists anyway, if you're a Nazi, you can go burn in hell for all I care. And I wish that I never taught a single day if it means a Nazi learned from my work. But unfortunately, I'm not going to go and delete my whole channel just because of that. But you're not welcome. And your voice is not welcome. And your comments are not welcome. And you will be deleted and you will be erased from history. So you can crawl back in the tar from whence you came to vote for Trump. Your vote is not the only one that counts. We will all vote and we will all win with a landslide. And it will be too big to rig, and you will not ever have a voice like this again in history. And I will promote this from now until November 3rd. I will do my absolute best on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere where there is an imprint of me. I will constantly encourage my viewers, my students, my fellow artists, my people to vote blue. I don't care who it's on. I don't care what they did. All I know is that we have one common enemy, and we need to take care of it. All right, everyone ready for the before and after? All right, before I continue, I'm going to just blur a little bit the this stuff right here, blur, Gaussian blur. So I'm going to bring it down to 0, delete that marching ants, and I'm just going to blur a little bit. Anything that is not focal point really doesn't need all that much attention. So the painting is still extremely exposed. We still have really, really bad contrast. There's still, you know, colors are still a little bit dirty. They're still a little bit messy. I'm going to try to fix some of the color use here on this feather, which really shouldn't be that vibrant. At least have the same, you know, color. I'm going to desaturate some of this. I'm going to use that pure white on everything else just to combine the values. So you can see I desaturated all the colors you chose. And now I'm going to use pure white just on anything that is getting the light on it. And then I'm going to just frame the painting. This is my first question on the one. I feel like I've missed something. I wonder how many people are actually happy with voting him out of office. I would if I could, but I'm in Europe. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? God only knows. All I can do is just, despite all the bullying from Trump supporters on my Facebook, everywhere I go, I'm always getting these really nasty comments about, you know, about me, about what I'm saying, about how, you know, I shouldn't be saying any of this stuff, or how they'll support him no matter what, or we're all libtards, or some other really toxic Nazi language. You know, I try to ignore it, and I try to do my absolute best to expose what's happening, what's really happening. And their bullying will not stop me. And I'll try my best to reach out to as many people. If I can just get 100 votes away from him, I'll have done my job, and I won't have any right to complain. In the day of judgment, when I stand in front of God, I'll say I did what I could. All right, so I'm blurring the hairline just a little bit, and I'm gonna do one last thing because she seems to have a peachy but pale skin tone. See how she has a pale skin tone? You don't turn pale. You don't get pale, but you know you stay olive. You kind of have a cool value to your skin tone when you get pale. So that's why I'm shifting it over into that Caucasian pink, as you can see. So see how it's warmer before? After, I'm making it a little bit more pink and flushed. So there's still a lot of mistakes here, as you guys can see. And I did my absolute best to make it look like it's rotating for whatever I could fit in a class that's an hour. So before, filter, image size 3000. After. All right, so more baby-like. Before, you had that downturned eye, which looks more like an old person eye because that's what the sagging does. So you're using old people read and old people signatures and trope on a young person's face in a drawing, but you don't really stay true to your reference. After. So we gave her a little curious, before she looked worried. I mean, you can make her look worried. It's not really an expression class. You can make her look worried if you want to. All right? Oh, she looks so cute. All right? So you can make her look worried. Yeah, the future needs a better leader. Yes, I'm brown and have lived in majority Hispanic among most of the Trump supporters I've encountered here aren't racist, and I don't think it's fair to generalize them as such. I understand that you're a Democratic, you're a Republican supporter. I understand that. I'm sorry if I mixed the two terms today. But I don't think Trump is the best candidate to represent your conservative beliefs, Lulu. And I think as you get older, you'll realize that Trump was not the best candidate to represent a Jesus-fearing, God-fearing community. Please think about that. We don't have time to history book to go down where we didn't do anything we could to get him out. Look at all the fascist countries going down in hellfire. We don't want this. Absolutely. Yeah, Trump is a mockery of the conservative language. He's not even a representative of it. He's not even a poster child of it. He's the opposite. He's run around with pedophiles and Epstein. He's run around with porn stars. Is that what you associate with conservative, Lulu? I don't think so. Please think about it. So before, after. So you see the pink in the skin tone? It's a slight little change, but it should help a lot. All right. So before, the expression. So that's a lot. Let's recap on all the signatures that make a face 3/4 view. All right. So we have the sphere. Everyone write these notes down. Remember, good note takers get lots of rewards. The sphere of the eyeball. All right. The temple and how the eyebrow bone goes into the temple. The sphere of this eyeball. The visibility of this side. The loss of this nostril here, which should probably really just be gone. Okay. The cylindrical touch of this lip, of the lips, the disappearance of the far corner of the mouth. This is still visible. The shape of this nostril and the disappearance of the other nostril. No value sharing. And the shape of the nose right here. All right, the disappearance of this tail of the eyebrow should not be visible and forced into this right here. All right. But yeah, sorry if I confuse Republican and Democratic. I always mess the two up. But I hope one day a Republican candidate shows up that deserves your vote is what I mean to say. Trump wants to make the 1% money and control shit. That is all little hand energy. Absolutely. All right, so then we have all these notes. I think I covered some other stuff too for the 3/4 view changes. Before, after, and these are the main changes that I did. Let me try to get them into like a really obnoxious color. There we go. All right, so these are the changes. I'm not part of the country, so I can't say much. Okay, so I'd like a good moderate candidate. We've gone too far left, and I say that as a registered Democratic. Yeah. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you everyone for listening. If you guys don't like this talk about world events, then you need to get on up, go take some quantum physics classes, make some kind of time machine, jump to another dimension where there is no such thing as government. Unfortunately, in this dimension, there is government and affects all of us personally, affects the very internet you're using to listen to my class right now. So please talk about world events, talk about them despite your angry family that's forcing you into your beliefs. Talk, resist, talk back, ask questions, stay vocal, stay verbal. Make sure that you guys are understanding what's happening in this country, because the less we talk, the less change we see, the more morbid our future will be. All right, thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you guys on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. I love you guys very much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for those who come out to the critique hour. I really appreciate when you guys are there for the live classes. I'll keep you guys updated on the harvest challenge, the new challenges. Can't wait till you guys get a hold of those. Last year we did the harvest goddess. This year we'll do something a little bit similar, but it'll be a creature design for the harvest season. So a mascot for the fall, early winter season. So like leaves and changing colors and all of that stuff, kind of like a harbinger of the harvest season. I can't wait to send you guys that brief. For now, just focus on the current book cover design challenge. I'll let you guys know when the due date is for that, because I'm not really sure. I'll see you guys on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Bye, guys.